What's up everyone, it's your coach Marwan from Marwan Kilo Fitness and fitandleandad.com. Today's video I'm going to share with you 3 simple tricks for faster fat loss. So 3 tricks to help you burn fat faster. So for most people the reason they put on fat is portion control, as in they eat too much and they eat too frequently. Okay, this can be from any number of reasons other than hunger, which we'll talk about later on in the video. So I want you guys to make sure that you have a pen and paper, all right, and write a lot of these points down, because a lot of good content in here for you, which will help you lose fat and lose a lot of that stubborn fat, okay? So number 1 is to do something for 10-15 minutes before you eat. Now, let's talking about exercise here, all right? It doesn't have to be a full-blown workout, guys. It can be something very simple, such as doing some work on the punch bag, sparring with your partner, boxing with your partner, sparring, going for a run, going for a low intensity walk, doing a mixture of crunches, push-ups, and what else? Some air squats, and maybe even some banded pull-aparts. Okay, this is a mixture of these with a bit more work rather than rest. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like 1 minute on, 1 minute off. You just, as long as it doesn't have to be like anal about it, as long as you're actually doing more work than the rest, and that's the main thing. So it can be like 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off, that kind of thing. Okay, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, whatever you prefer. Okay, as long as you're doing something for 10-15 minutes. Now the point of this is not to burn more calories, although it does help, so it's not really an excuse to go out and have a pizza afterwards, but it's to help you eat less. Okay, now like I said, this is what a lot of people eat. A lot of people eat out of kind of psychological reasons, and this is why this strategy works. I'm going to go through a few points on why doing something for 10-15 minutes actually works. So point number 1 is decreases boredom. Right, I'm going to write in a little slightly bigger writing, because I don't think you guys can see it in the video. And psychological eating. Okay, so if you're somebody who's a stress eater, this can be very, very good strategy for you, okay? Because exercise will help relieve the stress a lot more than food does. Okay, you go and exercise and you're going to get serotonin. Okay, whereas when you start to kind of eat, you get more of a dopamine response. Dopamine is a kind of both are hormones, but dopamine you kind of get more when you have a slice of pizza, when you have something like a bit of sugar. You get more of a dopamine response, and then you get kind of a crashing down. So when you have sugar, then you get a dopamine response, your blood sugar rises, and then it suddenly goes crashing down. Whereas with serotonin, you get more of a feel-good factor, longer lasting factor. Okay, so if you're somebody who's a stress eater, somebody who gets bored and starts to eat, then this can be very, very good for you, because exercise is a stress reliever. Okay, and when you know you have to do something before you eat, you might actually not want to eat that thing in the first place. All right, so point B is being physically active can help decrease hunger, not anger. Being physically active can help Okay, so being physically active can help decrease hunger. It decreases the blood flow to the digestive system, and it puts it towards the working muscles. Okay, this then, what happens then is can actually help you decrease the amount of food you actually eat. And when you eat less, then hopefully that will help you burn more fat, because you're not having to, and even put on less fat. Okay, so stop the fat from accumulating because you're simply not overeating. all right, because you get more easily satisfied. Okay, you kind of know your limits. So you know, sometimes after a hard exercise, you find it really, really hard to go out and have a full-blown meal. Okay, and that's because all the kind of the blood is still going through to the muscles, are trying to recover. Okay, it's trying to kind of still putting it towards the working muscles, so you don't feel physically able to eat any more, like lots of food. Okay, C is, believe it or not, doing something, okay, and will help you take your mind off eating. So take mind off so when you're doing something, okay, it'll help take your mind off that perceived craving. So sometimes you get this craving in your brain simply because you're used to eating like a certain time, or you have this food kind of lying around. Sometimes your brain is like, oh, kind of, I'm really hungry, but whereas really it's more of a kind of a psychological thing rather than anything. So when you're actually doing something physically, when doing something active, then it'll help you take that, take your mind off it, and you find that you don't actually want to eat. And also exercise helps reduce anxiety, whereas eating really doesn't. Okay. D is increase insulin sensitivity. Okay, for those of you who don't know what insulin is, it's basically a hormone that is released from the pancreas in response to a sugar. Okay, a response to sugar that happens within the that contained in the food. So it can be from protein, it can be from carbs. Okay, and the insulin helps to partition, kind of keep your blood sugar stable, and that's why you see a lot of people talking about insulin, especially with regards to fat loss, because it's very, very important. Okay, so when you increase your insulin sensitivity, what happens is your body is going to partition more of the food towards your muscles rather than your fat cells. So imagine your body being a kind of a bucket of water. When you got a bucket of water and that bucket of water fills up, okay, then it kind of it starts to spill onto your fat cells. Sorry, that's probably a little bit more advanced, but in any case, when you kind of overfill your insulin stores, then what happens is the food that kind of goes towards your fat cells, if you know what I mean. Never mind, sorry. Okay, so anyway, increases the insulin sensitivity so that your body is saying when you eat a meal with like high carbohydrates, for example, or a lot of sugars, then it'll help partition it towards your muscles more than your fat cells. Okay, so then the analogy that I was talking about before, so rather than kind of overfilling that one bucket of water, you're actually filling up 2 buckets of water rather than one. So it helps actually balance out the amount of water in each bucket, so it doesn't go spilling over. When the bucket of water is starting to get overflow, especially your liver glycogen starts to overflow and start to spill onto your fat stores. Okay, because the body cannot hold. There's no infinite amount of your liver can only hold a certain amount of glycogen in there. Okay, I hope that makes sense. By the way, sorry if I went on a bit of a tangent. All right, so E is can help you produce more adrenaline. Okay, sorry, the writing's still a little bit small. Adrenaline. That's an E at the end. Okay, so adrenaline is kind of like another fight or flight hormone. Okay, that you have when you you hear somebody sometimes people talking about they're running on adrenaline. Okay, adrenaline is basically one of the hormones that you have. It's just basically, you say you are chased by a lion, okay, and we cannot basically outrun a lion, but you suddenly find this energy from nowhere, or you're like you're kind of doing a maximum squat, and then you suddenly the weight feels a bit too heavy, and you find it a struggle to get out of the bottom of the squat, but you know, for some kind of unknown reason, all the muscle fibers suddenly start to fire, and you're able to get out when you don't actually think that you're able to. Now, I've done that before, where I've gone for a squat, not necessarily a maximum, but where I've gone for one extra rep that I probably shouldn't have gone for, and suddenly find myself like I'm right there in the bottom, thinking, whoa, you know, how am I going to get out of this? I'm going to drop the bar on myself, and I'm going to come crashing down. And suddenly, your shoulder muscles start to fire up, your arm, your hands, and everything else start to pull all together to help you get out of that sticky spot. Okay, so adrenaline will help you eat a lot less, especially if you do some kind of like high intensity exercise. Okay. And so if you guys got this down, I hope you've written all these down, because I'm going to wipe it off, and we're going to go on to point number 2. So to drink protein shake before food. Okay, so point number 1, I spoke about the benefits of doing an exercise for 10-15 minutes before you eat. Okay, this is another strategy here. All right, drink the protein shake before food. Now, the whole reason is not to the whole reason behind it is so that it fills you up. Okay, make sure if you get a protein shake, make sure that it's one of those that will have egg protein, and they've got muscular casein. Okay, rather just to make it easy, to make sure it's got like casein, so it's got a little bit of fat in it. And the whole reason behind it is that it helps you fill up for longer. Okay, fat and protein together will help you feel full for longer. So when you drink this protein shake for like 10-15 minutes before you eat, then it helps to make you feel full. And when you feel full, you're going to eat a lot less. So to make sure you try to make it really thick, and I add some like ice in it to make it thick shake. All right. So instead of white isolate, make sure that you get one that contains casein in it, or milk and egg protein. All right. Or you can even just get one that just contains casein on its own. Casein protein really makes no difference if casein is in with whey isolate, if casein is together with the whey or not. Okay. The whole point is that to make you full for longer. But what you don't want to do is buy one of those meal replacement shakes that contain like 1,000 calories or something, one serving, because that'll just be like kind of beside the point, so to speak. All right. And point number 3 is no training. No carbs. Okay. Now, you might say, well, I know you've said before, Marwan, that you should eat carbs and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't, there's no, I'm not against carbs, okay? I like to have carbs all the time, but this for the point of this video, I'm just giving you a different strategy, okay? Now, there's a guy called Fred Hadfield who squatted 1,040 something kilograms at the age of 41 or 42. Okay, and he said something like, if you don't train, then you don't need the carbs, which is actually pretty true. Okay, you're not going to go catabolic if you don't have any carbs on the days that you don't train. If you're not training hard, then you probably don't need the carbs. You don't need to compensate for a lack of carbs and go and add on more fat. It's simply the whole idea behind it is so that you eat actually less and you kind of help your body, and you not help your body, but you're in essence burning more fat for energy. Okay, now doing it once or twice a week isn't going to kind of make you catabolic. All right, if you cut the calories, you don't need to be anal about it, so to speak. All right, if you're somebody who's just trying to get lean, what you need to do is to try and eat less rather than like critique and be anal over every single details. For those of you who are physique competitors, and it's very hard to try and kind of change. You need to work to a routine. You need to work to a certain thing, because every single detail that you change, then it takes a while to get used to. So any food that you change will play a different part within the body. Will have a different reaction, the meal timings and stuff like this. Okay, portion sizes, meal frequency, and that kind of thing. So the whole idea behind these things is for you guys to sort of eat less, to reduce the amount of times that you eat. So we control portion control the amount of food that you eat. The amount of times that you eat. Okay, which both will help you eat less and burn more fat, hopefully. Okay. So you got to the whole key. The key behind it is to reduce the hunger and modify the psychological behavior that is actually making you eat for anything other than hunger. Okay, so I've worked with clients who come to me and say, "Well, I'm get hungry after 1 hour. I get hungry after half an hour. I want to eat," even though the plate was actually, when they told me how much food they ate on that actual meal, then you think, well, no, that's not hunger. That's something other than hunger that's making you eat, such as stress, boredom, emotions, habits, stuff like this. Okay, guys, I hope this video helpful. Again, 3 simple tricks to burn fat faster. If you found this video helpful, please leave me a comment, hit the like button and share it with your friends and family, and we'll talk again later. Bye for now.